Elge dolor sampete paracha, pade lame shabra soran. Omoha guru vajradhara, sumati munisha samekam, uta vardanya shri bhadra varsa manya sarva siddhi om. Oma guru vajradhara, sumati munisha samekam, uta vardanya shri bhadra varsa manya sarva siddhi om. Om Guru Vajradhara Sumati Munisha Sane Karma Uta Vardanya Shri Bhadra Varsa Manya Sarva Siddhi Om Guru Vajradhara Sumati Munisha Sane Karma Uta Vardanya Shri Bhadra Varsa Manya Sarva Siddhi Lama tuje che nyamda dala tuje sikso so gebe she sandala tendo so uyo sunge nawa tselo so tseje ningne deje kolo beso lezione ila sampe de malepa gebe gebe trubra jingelo Soni sodan digne shapetse dunge namge niso lezione Lapche soni yonso sobadan cheranye dun chawajin Chancho paragi nensen dugun tu inyo peme sirro leksione Chancho drube gegen kuishishi tugen dela drubra jingin Dagi lona chula chobadan chumi samjura gemba shiwadan Chedan tumbe dedur malupa pime pingi drupra jingil Dona tingne seda tamche dan teche pardo nekav tamche Ese kyamne namne kirne Tukche chingi dala siksu sola kongya breve nyamda dachala Jetsu lame tukche rabgome Kuda sungi nawa dralme tu nyamsu nyawe kesan tobrash Yewa kundu yanda lama dan dralme chuki pela lomshech Sada lamgi yente rabjone Dolce changi kopa nyurso Pakyuke kudan dagilo Pakyuke sudan dagilo Pakyuke tudan dagilo Yerme chiktu jingilo Makyuke kudan dagilo Makyuke sudan dagilo Makyuke tudan dagilo Yerme chiktu jingilo E oggi ho scelto di parlare in inglese, in quanto che di solito gli altri corsi che facciamo durante l'anno di solito li faccio in italiano, quindi anche per dare un po' più di opportunità a coloro che non parlano l'italiano. Ho scelto questa volta di farlo in inglese, quindi ringrazio Francesco che farà la traduzione simultanea in italiano. Per questo chi ha bisogno della traduzione, abbiamo le cuffie che si possono usare così uno ha la traduzione simultanea. Però prima cominceremo con la recitazione della Guru Puja, ok? Verso numero 1. Dece ngale romni lama la kande selve kule vesetsu chochur jobe nyochu chilape tapara jambashi yundengi gobe kepa punsum sopara gyura rakara gesem Dardam kanya marge senchena Deme isi jamshu nipeva Lama kuncho sula kyapsudro Namo Guru Bhye Namo Buddhaya Namo Dharmaya Namo Sanghaya Namo Guru Bhye Namo Buddhaya Namo Dharmaya Namo Sanghaya Namo Guru Bhye Namo Buddhaya Namo Dharmaya Namo Sanghaya Simche kungi tungi chiri dani lama lara gyurne sunche tamche lama lai gopa chola gopa ma simche kungi tungi chiri dani lama lara gyurne sunche tamche lama lai gopa chola gopa ma simche kungi tungi chiri dani lama lara gyurne sunche tamche lama lai gopa chola gopa ma simche tam chegi tuntu dagi seti nyurwa nyurwa dume sangye lama lai gopa muntu je ma simche tamche tunga lepre deshe sangye sala gopa Dei chikto lam samo lama lai nel giorno su lavora che Omo ahum Omo ahum Omo ahum Omo yeshe la nambra nancho dancho se Chile ombo juge chudu de donge yeshe kebra jenge be sarvam bananange gyuntam che yonsu kyabe china sambe chudrin tamse chanse samge mikyabe awara gyu Yeton yerme al halayam prakmitsan chudrin chepe vo loma meto trebu yonze turgu pasan chempese Doma parveri sentikem chikem vida gebete Kadre sumbe sabre lama sangye kungi mohoni Namba yunmi tipe gelo shechi chani kumkratro Chaye cheche yompa nyapsum Disi kaume lungse nama kurgon damden chogo sumso sepdo peche udase Tulkara kyapta doje shawa shechi chani puto Dori sume incho margyu linge de dorol peke Nama rinche genge reshi patse bagi naselu Tempe gende vese tomba chatsu nange korve u Dorje kiltron surge shupe pumpo namda deshe Kamshi yumshi keche tsagyo sena chancho sempano Bapo drachu nitri shikro yema trovo vankoni Vesere chogyo nochi samva chikte pana shakite Tako rinshi nyogyo lama idam kiko laksoda Sangye jansen pavo karro tensum gyatso koneshu Tetra kosum dorje sumse muge vesere chagyo Ashine yeshe pana chenda yeme tenvara gyur Enzo dele chune tusunge Sagyo lama idam kuncho sum Pavo karro chogyo sumso che Tuche wangi dike tenprashu Shona manshin trovo kundreya Naso duje sampachi shindu Shiryan charve kense chile che Kyakro sampa koche shuktu Om Guru Buddha Bodhisattva Dharma Pala Sapariva Eya Hita Om Bambo Yeshe Prananda Jipada Nixo Me Para Gyura Kange Tuche Dewa Chimboye Kusum Gopake Choke La Sotse Lama Rinchen Kaboku Dolce Chinsha Pemura Chatselo Ramjang Gyalwa Kungi Yesheni Kandu Chiyan Chare Tangesho Nurmi Zimbe Kargi Nerowa Gyamkun Dambe Shabla Chatselo Namche Dampa Sange Kungi Rinche Tsogi Tere Pende Malu Chume Nutribu Jesu Lame Shabla Chatselo Dampa Sange Kungi No Gete Shigo Damche Juene Patso Kungi Una Lange Wa Rinche Lama Namla Chatselo Tusun Chochuru Shupe Lama Da Rinchen Chosun Chara Tanchela Deshi Bebe Deyon Gyatso Che Shindu Nyambe Lutru Chatse Hoe Kyungkwen Jetsu Lama Korche Natso Chiring Gyatso Burwani Kone Rinche Lobano Yale Nache Tutsi Chushi Dekiba Tombo Sima Trawa Pelekpa Trepe Medo Salam Pananta Tishin Pege Duba Beduye Yapye Mambo Tinge Lalantri Nida Norbo Rapara Dombenzo Tonsu Minse Veset Sekarako Tabu Tsenden Kurkun Chikope Pocho Soche Koryo Kunegi Rage Chine Sacha Nuwada Lada Miye Shase Lumpopo Natso Rmo Chero Tayede Duwe Danye Duwe Sasombre Suda Tiro Reche Pesimpe China Zoyo Chebunkya Sashibwe Kicho Shireto Tarani Rabishi Mide Gempari Sangye Shindu Dawe semge pujo shinge cho jokon tuje chela ulwaragi yedam guru ratna mandala kam niryatayami Osha yitro yishingya tomo shishinam kalero jutsegi tato gefe kunge yitro shin jikde vedera shingi Kusum geve meto chianta, kusan chebe tiksum buntroshi, lapsurim ni lakwe krekwe, lakse tiksum lama michibu, kuru neten sampodri neche, rukye pepsi gashe tuwada, chakyu madam roma malaso, chanto barwe tutsi gyatsocho, yuwa lakso pansin chuchushi, gefe gyutse lake ludrama, Shinge nake linge ponye so serdo gyume chagyanam kyabun Jirde linge dewe yeshe che chokyoran shin tomdan rewe Yerbe lundru masan jale de tomdan jamcho sencho kyolabun Nyomo shigat sashi nekchobe sampo mengi chedra natsodam Yone gichir dadre bulana namkrachisi baso sodo Dune mige dikbele gidan gitse gira chichipa Suche chene chenya kisenki Shashilinche mige lumbanyo Shona ranshin sema dandreya Milan jishin girba tamsheki Dega chiyan chawe namkrala Dacha sampa tape yiramyo Pulchum kense chutsin pumtrite taye grodi pende kundetse Keda yundu nedan pewe chire sarge chegi chapa vaptu Torje kula kechi mingaya sunchu wangi gyabo samato Dacha meba chishin site para nyange mida tapara shuksu Dedra chumpe nankra keveso kari sunden jesu lamari Sera kuntu dharme jitsinchi sunchu dorje chanwa top chirmo yunten suwe trum gyato che mando norbe tsuki yonso murme simba tuwa dibe che neten tuwa sila soare kandan dena devra shekpe lam tumra vebe yunten chuden malu gyalve dukon choki je tekcho gyave shila soare Osum lenam lochen sodendra yodan gyume madan gyusheshi Enye chusun dikhan shekirte dorje zinte tsola sovade Sange drombe chute maduwe malu duke nidi drowada Deshe raksan gishin tumbari kapun tuje chela sovade Dupe nina duke nungurute gungya mebe drowa mambola Geve sepa nyavra drutsepe kapon duke shela sovade Usu chochu gyawa tamchela Kaki babu buka chitsayan Dacha sona shindu lengma pe kapon tuje chela sovade Deshe kusum gengi koloni Tapke gyuru drawe chugele Tamme tsukri rowa rinsepe Kapon tuje chela sovade Yuki puka keshe yela nam Deshe ringa yamyo sembadan Trove wambo ranshin chosungi Dani lama chola sovade Kunye yeshe rupa lechunwe Tikur korlo chewe dani de Rike kyata torche tsimbeso Sumchu tambo kola sovade Chibe lenge nove rupana Yeme tenu kunkya kunkida Roma kadre kusante nangi Chanchu simu kyula sovade Kini lama kyuni nam kyuni kandro che kyunte Dene sunte chanchu pardu Gyömi kyapshe mitsolwe Didam bardo chi nektarya Tuje chagyo sun sola Si shi jikro no dukun so tengi trozo pacho sun Kyöni lama kyöni yina Kyöni kandro che kyonte Tegne sunte chanchu baru Kyömi kyashe mitsowe Didam bardo shi mektarya Tuje chagyu sun sola Si shi jikro modu kunso Tengi trozo bacho sun Kyöni lama kyöni yidam Kyöni kandro che kyonte Dege sukte chanchu bardu Kyöni kyashe mitsowe Didam bardo chi mektarya Tuje chagyu sun sola Si shi jikro no rukun sol Tengi trozo pacho sun Dedale son solvata petu Lame kusun tu gine namne Dutsive se karmaratinka sun Rindan chi charchune danigi Me sun rindan chi charatimpale Dipshi takchi namda wanshito Kushito chi lamani bashik Geshin timpe jingi Cho tamba chitsu lama la chichin kube sowa tabe tu dele sawa kumbo kyunyi ki geshin jetsu zimbra jingi lo lenche tsamshin yebe depshuradi jikbe sultone tome tsedi chawe miye wara tunde nimbo limbra jingi lo meson dunge barwe mejine ningne kuncho sumla gyatochi Lepo yetse tada drupala Tsupalu lenje pajingilo Nyon balon tratu tru Duma sumge chuse mambetse Tame jino tsinso chembole Karde shura kevra jingilo Soka sora grawe korvadi Gawe tseltara tume lobane Nasum pape nogi sesumte Kape yetse zimbra jingilo Nata trova digun dagi ma yan tingi kyampe tsusomne Dupe pula sewe mashindu Shoni ninje kevra jingelo Dunge tramo tsamya mide shin Dela namya cheshe mebrani Prada shela kevra yomi she Shinde gawa kevra jingelo Zimbe chungne di mide dunga gebe gyurtone Lele de la kundu sunjete Taksin dunchen chumpra jingelo Mana chesun de la guebelo Ataye yonden chunge cordone Trova dida dagi dralagya Sole chibra zimbra jingelo Andon konada tubuan shindun bachin tsebai Kyunda yonde yewa topelo Atashe nyamche nukra jingelo Rangi chesi gupa kungi gu Mana chesi yonde kungi shik Denchiri tashin jewe nejola Nyamle nyimpe chepra jingelo Kena jetsu lama tuje che Maryu drove dideb dumaku Malu tata dala mimpada Dagi dege shila tamari Rukun tedan dembra jingilo Tena jetsu lama tuje che Magyu drove dideb dumaku Malu tata dala mimpada Dagi dege shila tamari Rukun tedan dembra jingilo Tena jetsu lama tuje che Magyu drove dideb dumaku Malu tata dala mimpada Dagi dege shila tamai Rupu dedan debra jingilo Nechu dikpe sheku yungkante Mide dunga chapta babgyurukya Nenge drepe sepe gyurtone Kenye landu lompa jingilo Lona sange nyawa shishaya Chukyu nimbo tonge nyamlengi Jamshu sengi pewe lamgyurute Ide bashi kumbra jingilo Chorwa shida dembe tapkegi Chela kanto kumla chorwa na Lojo damsi lamje nyamlengi Dejo tunchen jimpra jingilo Tongle lula kempe trudekche Chanda nije lape sambaye Trona sikso chele drovechi Chancho semni chomra jingilo Tusum gyawa kungi trochena Nanda gyase tomba gyudamshi Teksho tsuprin sungi nyamlela Sompa lule chepa jingilo Luda namsho tusum getso che Simche rara debe nongurute Chame tonsun kebe menagi Jebe parchin sobra jingilo Sotra janse sama tombagi Shesan sogi chirya midoshi Gechu duda serche chundrupe Sutre parchen sopra jingelo Shishin sandro dikshin sokcho kyam Midru nonem pemba druje Sebe parchen sopra jingelo Senche dere chiya namepe Mena keba gyaso nego kyan Yide mingyo janchu chusompe Sandro parchen sopra jingelo Jingyo napa yowe gyomba ne Chuku dembe tombe ne lola Tsechi nyampa jope tinsingi Samden pache zopra jingilo Dengi soso tope shiraki Trambe shinchambe shindam dewa Tenda nyamsha namge ne jogi Shira Panchen Lobsang Chokyi Xinyan Chunan Gyuma Milanda Tabe Sonanda Sojishin Nayan Dembra Mebe Tsutone Gyume Tinzin Lobsang Chokyi Kole Ranshin Dutsa Mepada Gyure Tendre Lua Mepani Pension Garve Chonsu Chawai Ludro Gondo Lobsang Chokyi Tene Doche Simbe Tepengi Chinle Gyute Gyatso Chingelte Modro Sawa Tamsi Tombana Sole Chebra Zimbra Jingelo Yeshi Prado Gewe Kusuntu Gyurwe Rimba Tambo Nechogi Tame Nashin Chirwa Kunjante Kana Labura Chawara Jingelo Nige Dake Duti Hudatu Gongyo Shaksen Gwa Lechuma Vese Gyulo Sunto Jupela Sendir Mondo Gyurwara Jingelo Lana Masin Chire Duchena Senta Tsangya Lame Povani Toma Yandan Jave Damangi Takpe Shindu Drubra Jingelo Dona Geshin Gewa Tamchetu Gombo Kyogi Drame Jesone Kusum Tugi Sawa Kunzimpe Segi Duro Gyurwa Jingelo Gongyo Kanto Mombra San Gepe Korgi Toma Nidu Dagyurute Shikatan Gyoto Malupa Eme Rungir Metrashizu Sangye Chudan Sogi Chonam La Chanchu Bardo Dani Kyapsu Chi Dagi Jinso Gibe Sonamgi Rola Penchire Sangye Drupa Reshu Sangye Chodan Sogi Chonam La Chanchu Bardo Dani Kyapsu Chi Dagi Jinso Gibe Sonamgi Rola Penchire Sangye Drupa Reshu Sangye Chodan Sogi Chonam La Chanchu Bardo Dani Kyapsu Chi Dagi Chinshe Gibe Sonamgi Rola Penchire Sangye Rupa Resho. In the Buddha, the Dharma and Sangha, I take refuge until enlightenment. Through the practice of generosity and the other perfections, may I attain Buddhahood for the benefit of all sentient beings. Nel Buddha, nel Dharma e nel Sangha prendo rifugio fino all'illuminazione. Con la pratica della generosità e delle altre perfezioni possa io ottenere lo stato di Buddha per il beneficio di tutti gli esseri senzienti. We could say that since the beginner's time, we have always been trying to find our own way for happiness and our own way to be free from any form of suffering. And in this process, if we look through our human history, what we know about at least, this process have had so many different manifestations of what we understand that is happiness, of what we understand that is suffering, of how to gain happiness, of how to be free from suffering. It's something that we have somehow always tried different ways for it. And in this whole process, we could say that we could make two main divisions which is those that believe that happiness, the state of well-being, it's a result of an external reality. It's a result of gaining power, fame, money, pleasures, so gaining external things. And then there are those that think that, okay, happiness actually it's something that is a process of one's own inner transformation and one's own inner growth. Let's put it in this way. If we analyze, we will see that actually are we influenced or not by external reality? We are. So this means that if we have good food, it influences us. If we don't have enough food, it influences us. If we are in a place that is comfortable, it influences us. If we are in a place where there is a lot of pollution and tension, and an uncomfortable place where it's too hot or where it's too cold, or whatever other type of conditions, it influences us. Okay? If we are in a place where other people are hostile towards us, it influences us. If other people are kind and gentle to us, it also influences us. So, when we look from this perspective, we see that yes, we are influenced by the environment in which we live, by the world that is around us. There is no doubt on that. And the influence is actually even bigger than that most of us, I think, even imagine. Okay? We are influenced by the air that we breathe, if it's polluted or not. We are influenced by the energy from the planets. We are influenced by even the thoughts of other people. We are influenced by the choices that other people make. We are influenced by what we eat, by the way how it grows. We are which means if it was food that was originally grown with love and care, if it was something that was done with greed and selfishness, if it was a food that was grown with a lot of suffering and aggression or not, we are all influenced by that. So for example, nowadays if we look the way how animals are grown in order for us to be able to eat meat, is in a very aggressive way, very violent way. We are influenced by that also. No? We are influenced by the electromagnetic fields. We are influenced by our friends, by our families. Basically, we are influenced by everything that is around us. Influenced means our state of well-being or our state of suffering are somehow influenced by it, okay, are somehow pushed by it, okay. So what we try to do constantly is to try to create a sort of balance in our life. And I like to imagine the following. Let's see if with this I can make the example. Okay, we have something that is in balance, okay, and we have two main forces within this, which is, in one part is our own body, on the other side is the environment in which we live, which means our family, our friends, our job, the society in which we are, all the conditions that surround us. Okay? So these two aspects, they are very important. According to what happened to them, you know, we can go to one direction or we can go to other, and we can lose this balance in our own lives. So when we look from that, to have a balanced life would mean a life in which we are not so much into suffering and in which we are not so much into euphoric joy, but we are in a balanced way. We live within a state of satisfaction and peace. So if we don't have a healthy body, would that take away that state of satisfaction and peace? Like today I have a little bit of fever. Yesterday was a little bit more. You can see just a small little bit of fever already changes something on us. No? It's good for Francesco because then I speak more slowly. Okay. But what happens is that our body influences us in an incredible way. Our hormones, everything in our body. If we sleep enough, if we don't sleep enough, if every aspect of our body influences ourselves, influences our experience of life. Okay. So on one side, we have the body. On the other side, we have the conditions around us. If we have enough food, for example, we can have a good body, but suddenly if it's too cold, or if it's too hot, or if we don't have enough food, or if we have the environment around us that is aggressive to us, or we can have many other conditions that will take away this balance. Okay. So when we look to that, we will see that yes, it is important. Even from in the path of the Bodhisattva, there are 6 main qualities that we are supposed to develop. And the first one is generosity, so-called paramitas. And generosity, because it's the easiest one to practice. And also because through generosity, it will bring us back the state of material well-being also. And what happens is that, you know, if we don't have this balance between body and wealth and the conditions that surround us, in the beginning of our path, it becomes extremely difficult to be able to follow a spiritual path. If we don't have enough food, if we live in a condition that we are constantly, for example, in the middle of war, constantly with fear and aggression, or if our body is too sick, and so on, it is not impossible, but it becomes very, very difficult truly to practice the Dhamma. So the first condition to follow well a spiritual path is to have the minimum necessary from these 2 conditions, body and environment around us. Okay? So, I think it's quite clear, right? That yes, the external conditions do influence us. They are important. We are not saying at any moment that they are not important. Okay? That's something that I just want to put clear. Otherwise, we have this idea, oh, everything is in the mind, so what happens externally doesn't matter. Not exactly. Okay, sure, if you have a truly well-developed mind, then you can always keep your balance independently of the external conditions. Okay? Because in this example I was giving, on one side we have the body, on one side we have the environment, and on the middle, the one that is actually keeping the balance, the one in the middle, I don't know how you call that in English. Italian will say permio, the part in the middle, no? The position of the part in the middle, that's the mind. So for example, if I want to keep balance, but I have too much weight coming from this side, what I need to do is I just need to move a little bit more here. And then I still keep balance. Then if the weight goes to the other side, I just need to move to the other side. So according to the position that I am down here, I can keep always balance if I am able to move it around. Okay? So what this shows us is that actually we are influenced by conditions, but what influences us the most of all is our mind. So for example, I can have perfect conditions of body, perfect conditions of wealth and external environment and so on. But what happens when the center part is not anymore in the center? It slides to the side and it falls. Even though everything is okay, but still we lose our balance. Okay? So, first point, yes, we are influenced by external conditions, but we are even influenced much more by our own state of mind. This is actually the aspect of ourselves that defines our own experience of life. I want to make clear that yes, we are influenced, and especially in the beginning of our path, it's extremely difficult for us to develop our own path while we have an unbalance created by body and environment. Okay? But if we look in the conditions in which most of us are, do we have good physical conditions? Yes. Do we live in a good environment? Mostly yes. Okay. But are we still unbalanced? Yes. Why? Because the position of the center is not centered. Okay? And in the moment that this pernio, I don't know how to say in English, this central, this pivot, I don't know, anyhow, this central part that is holding in the middle, no? Like in a scale, you have something that is in the middle, no? Yeah. So when in the moment that this moves, the whole thing falls down. Okay? So the mind is the most important part of all. And we must try to create our own balance actually by uniting the two aspects. Taking care of the body, taking care of the environment, and keeping the mind in a good position. This is actually these three things that must go together. Together with this example, there is one aspect which is my own personal theory. So it can be correct or it can be completely wrong. So don't take it for granted, please. Okay? Actually, don't take anything for granted. But if there is anything which Buddha taught, then that's one thing. If there is something that I never read in any other teachings, it's just my own idea. So please, you take in extra care. I was once talking to a doctor, and he said something to me that made me reflect a lot. He's a friend doctor in Spain, and he studied normal Western medicine, then he also studied completely homeopathy and also Chinese medicine, so he has quite a large view. Then he told me the following. He said, whenever a patient comes, the first thing that I ask the patient is, what do you like eating the most? And the patient would say, whatever. No? Let's say that he say, okay, I like eating watermelon or whatever. And then he say, first of all, stop eating this. He explained me that in our body, when our body is in balance, our body requires what maintains the body in balance. Is attracted. We are attracted. When we are in balance, we are attracted to the things that helps us to keep balance. When we lose balance, we are attracted to the things that makes that balance to become less and less and less. And this we can understand by this example very clearly. When we have something here and it's balanced, the forces on the two sides, they are going down on the same way on the two sides. So it remains always in balance, the two forces. In the moment that I start to lose balance, where does the force go? More easily? To the side that is losing balance. So which means, for me to bring back balance, I need to make the double of the strength on the other side in order for the balance to come back. Okay? So whenever there is something is out of balance, naturally the forces have the tendency to push it to the direction that is already going out of balance. So whenever we have our state of mind, or in a relationship, or in an economical system, or anywhere, okay, our own body, whenever it's out of balance, the tendency is to put more strength in whatever makes that unbalance stronger. Making a very simple example. When two people are in balance between them, and then suddenly whatever happens, and then that balance is lost. That harmony is lost. And then one starts to answer not nicely to the other, and have an attitude that is not kind, and takes away that balance. the tendency from the other side is to follow the same direction or to put the opposite energy. Our tendency is to follow the same direction. If it's falling on one side, we put the energy on the same side. Or you are not nice to me, then I am not nice to you. So, if we look in many aspects of this, and I don't think, we are very balanced, generally speaking. I think there is a lot of disharmony. We can see this by the fact that our mind is always in ups and downs. We can see this by the fact that independently of how is our body and the conditions around us, there are moments of happiness, then there is suffering, and then there is some moments of happiness again, and we go up and down, up and down, up and down all the time. Some time ago I was observing a friend, and he was very happy. And then I was just observing and I say, let's see how long it lasts. And I was observing the process of transformation from the state of happiness to the state of suffering. And it's almost like as if the happiness has a sort of expiry date, in which it doesn't matter how long, what happens, at a certain point we must suffer. It simply cannot hold itself. So we will find whatever excuse, we'll find whatever reason, because somehow we are unbalanced. Okay. But remember this fact that if we are unbalanced, our tendency will be to do things that will make such unbalance stronger. That's what comes spontaneously to us. That's what comes naturally to us, and not the other way around. So the things that actually we like doing, the things that comes naturally to us, most of the times are not the things that really are beneficial to us. The things that comes naturally to us, that are beneficial to us, is when we are on a state of balance, when we are in harmony. Then yes, we are attracted by the things that are actually beneficial to ourselves. Okay? I think, is it clear, this concept? Okay. What is the difficulty? That to bring back balance, or to make balance, we need to put effort in the opposite direction of where the energy is going. It's like swimming against the current. It's like putting energy in an opposite direction. And sometimes this means a long process also. It's not something that is immediate that is happening. Okay? So, following the words of this doctor, which, if I remember well, his name was Ramiro, but I have very bad memory with names anyhow. Or Eduardo, I don't remember now exactly. Anyhow. If we go to Buddha as our doctor, or to our guru, and we come and we say, oh, I have some symptoms. I am unsatisfied. I feel anxious. Doesn't matter what happens, finally I am suffering. My state of well-being doesn't last so long. And then he would ask us, what do you like doing the most, And we would say, taking care of ourselves, thinking of our own selves, What we like doing the most is trying to avoid our own suffering and trying to gain our own pleasure. Then he would say, so stop doing that for first. Because that's what we do with the most of spontaneous way. But we are in an unbalanced way, and what we have seen is by living in that way, is not bringing us higher state of well-being. The other way around. Okay? This is this lifestyle in which we are constantly trying to avoid our own suffering, and we are constantly trying to look for our own pleasure in a quite selfish way. actually it doesn't work. And because we are somehow unbalanced, this is actually showing us that this is exactly what makes such imbalance to become stronger. Okay. But again, what is the difficulty? Is that to put balance where balance is not. There are only two ways of doing it. Or I need to put weight on the other side, or I need to move the center. Okay? No other way. We can do the two together, that's maybe better even. But the way to make harmony is or I need to put weight on the opposite side, or I must change the center. Okay. So, when we look to our own lives and we say okay, where is missing balance? No? Where is missing harmony? Okay. One of the aspects that I believe sincerely, which I look around and I see, is the fact that we will never put energy in something that we actually don't want. Okay? It's quite logical, right? We only put energy in something that we really want. Okay? Something that we aspire, is something that we desire. Then we put energy into it. And we live in times where most of us, I'm generalizing, okay? Sure, we have many exceptions, but generalizing, most of us, we have any real aspiration in life. We live in a time where the main aspiration is survival in a comfortable way. And we try to live by the law of the less effort the better, and the more comfortable the better. I don't know how to say in English. In Italian we say la legge del minimo sforzo, the law of the minimum effort. So we try to live by these two laws, which is the minimum effort and the maximum comfort. And we think somewhere that if we need to put less effort and we can have more comfort, we will be happier. So, we don't have higher goals. We don't have higher objectives, both for ourselves and our society. We have a very selfish way of living, most of us, in which we have another aspect which is quite strong also, which is somehow we live in a sort of an extreme of individualism, in which we believe that if I'm able to do what I want, when I want, how I want, then I will be happy. But we forget that most of the times we really don't know what is the best for us. Sincerely, if I would be allowed is not the right word, but if I would be able to get everything that I want, how I want, when I want, that would be a big danger. Because I don't trust myself that much. There is a prayer in which we make this prayer to the Guru Buddha, to the holy beings, and we say, oh please, may all that you desire and wish for me, may all be fulfilled, because what I really want, I don't know. What is truly the best for me, I don't know. So what you wish for me, may that be fulfilled. But still, we live in the time in which our worldview, our paradigm, it's a materialistic paradigm in which we believe that happiness comes from external conditions only. And we live in a paradigm where we don't have higher goals, or goals that transcend our lives. And mostly we live by this rule of the minimum effort and the maximum comfort. And also in a quite selfish way. Individual, selfish also with very strong individualism. We can see this by the fact that if you go around, everything is personalized. And we have this strange idea that because it's personalized, it's better. Because I can make it as I want, then it will be nicer or better. Sometimes I look and I see like whatever, shoes or clothes or whatever it is, like you can make your own with everything, you know. And truly we don't know really what we want, you know. But we have this idea that because it's as I want, it will be better. If it works, wonderful, you know. But I don't see it so much in that way. So, no, we will never put effort into the path of the Bodhisattva if we truly do not want to be one. What happens is that we will only put energy where our desire, our aspiration lies. We will never want something, we never put energy for something that we really don't want. Who really understands this so well, which is the system of process of putting energy. You know? We say without effort, without, which means putting energy in something that is important but is not necessarily easy. Without putting effort, there will be no real change. So we remain more or less where we are already. So with effort, we somehow go out of our comfort zone and we make an effort to be something that we are not. But effort comes from aspiration, from desire. We will never put effort, we will never put energy in something that actually we don't want. That's the example of laziness. For me, the definition of laziness is the union of the conceptual wish of something with the lack of the desire for it. Conceptually, I want it. I know it's good for me, but truly I do not want it. That's laziness. Because if conceptually I don't want it, then I'm not lazy. But I know, oh, it's so good, I need to meditate. But I don't want it. This means what? Conceptually, I know that it's good for me, but truly I don't wish it, I don't desire it, I don't aspire for it. Because when we have strong desire for something, do we put energy in it? Naturally, spontaneously. It comes very easy. When we really want something, we do everything to get it. So what happens is that even though it may be difficult, when we fall in love, when we have passion for something, and actually this passion, this desire is a very important quality that we have. We must have passion. We just need to direct it correctly. Because when we have passion for something, then we go for it. But how do we develop passion for something? How do we develop desire for something? By first developing faith in it. Faith means to believe in the existence, in the qualities, and in the functions of whatever. If I have faith in water, it means I believe that water exists and I can have it. I believe that the water is clean and clear and it's pure. And I believe that the water has the capacity of eliminating my thirst and cleaning the dirt. It has its functions. So when I feel thirsty or when I am dirty, what do I go to look for? Water. And I can walk kilometers to get water. Why? Because I truly believe that the water will be able to take away my thirst. So what I do? I go for it. I put effort into it. So, who really understands this process very, very clearly for me? If we look in our society, this process of believing into something, desiring it and putting effort for it, is our marketing publicity system. Because how does the marketing and publicity works? Here is the new product. So they will tell you that this product exists. They will tell us, look, this product exists. It's beautiful, it's nice, it will make you look nice, it will make you look beautiful, it will make your dreams come true. You know, you will put this t-shirt and then you will look sexy, you will look strong, you will have everything you want, you can put whatever, you know, is the ideas that is put on it. Then what happened? We believe in it. Then we want it. And then we pay for it. And even it may be quite expensive. And what is money? Money is nothing more than energy. Because what happened? I go to work. What do we do in our work? We give energy. We give time. We give knowledge. We put ourselves in the service. So we are giving our own energy for our lives. And then what we get back energy. Because actually that money is actually part of my life. I don't know if it's clear, this concept. You know, I gave part of my life to get that energy. So when I am buying something, I am buying it, I'm putting my own energy for it. So, when we buy something, we put energy. Sometimes we even need to accumulate in order to get something. So why do we buy something? Because we really want it. Why do we want it? Because we know that it's possible to have it, and we know that it's wonderful and beautiful and will make me so happy, you know. Then we go for it. And how does that work? By brainwashing. The more we look at the image and the more it's repeated to us and the more again and again and again and again and again and again, and suddenly we want it. And it works. So, we need to use this technique also for ourselves, you know, which somehow in the teachings are there. When we have all these images, for example, of the Mahasiddhas, and the images of the Buddhas. Actually, it's supposed to be a sort of publicity. Okay? It is supposed to be a sort of publicity which is saying, oh look, you know, it's possible. Come on, look how wonderful it is. Come on, you should also get it. But we get it somehow in the wrong way. Because we come from a worldview where I am mundane and the sacred is completely divided and separated and far away from me. We come from a worldview, we come from a culture, we come from a paradigm in which, you know, the holy is there and I am here and I can never reach it. And what Buddha is telling us, the publicity that he's making, the marketing campaign that he's doing for us, he's saying, you can make it. You know, it has been done, this marketing campaign, for more than 2,500 years. Trying to show in many ways, look, that you can also make it. But the difficulty that we have is that we listen to the teachings of Buddha through a complete different worldview than the one that was present in the time of Buddha. At Buddha's time, there was no concept of one God. It was very, very different, the way. Also in the ancient Greece, it was also different. And the qualities that there were being the gods were qualities that we could also develop. So it had a very different way of approach. They are archetypes, they are like, I would say, examples of what we can develop in ourselves. So Buddha, he was showing to us, look, it's possible, you can get it, you can make it, and look how beautiful it is, how wonderful it is. That's why we go and we can go through all the qualities of being a Buddha, and there are descriptions of how beautiful it is and how special it is. And you see the qualities of body, the qualities of speech, the qualities of mind of a Buddha. Why all of this is described to us? So that we desire it. But for us to desire it, it needs one very basic aspect. The belief that we can make it. And then here, again, in the times in which we live, sorry if I put it in this way, but it seems to me that most of the time, or most of us, we don't have any higher goal. It's like if we look to a higher goal and we say, oh, how beautiful, how wonderful, but I don't even put in front of me the possibility that I can reach it. So better I just enjoy and be satisfied with the little pleasures that I have in my life and try to have a life of less effort and more comfort. It's like saying, oh, getting out of samsara, oh, that will be so wonderful, oh, but it's so hard. So better to have a comfortable samsara than the nirvana, you know, than to put effort to go to nirvana. I don't know if it's clear, this. So, because, you know, we will go through the teachings of Lojong, and we have incredible methods, but we need to have the basis. Because these are methods. Methods, they are tools. Tools that are to be used to gain something, to get to somewhere. But if we don't want to get there, then what's the point of having all the tools? So the question is, what do we want? What do we desire? What do we aspire? And that's a question that it's not obvious. But one of the things which I understood from this question, which makes it a little bit more difficult, I'm sorry to put it in this way, was some time ago, maybe 2 years ago, I was in Brazil, and there was a very difficult social political situation going on. Still nowadays, but at that moment it was the situation. And then I was looking many people unsatisfied around from the social political situation. So a lot of manifestations, people really unhappy about the situation of this country. But I didn't see anywhere anyone with a vision of what actually they wanted. So people clearly were unsatisfied with the present situation. But no one was manifesting a dream. No one was showing a direction. And then what happens? You complain, and after that you just do the same because you don't know what else to do. Okay? Then I was talking to a friend of mine who owns a magazine, and I was saying to him, oh, you know, the problem is that we need to dream. We need to be able to say what is the Brazil that we dream, what is the Brazil that we want in the future. Even though it may be something that it looks like impossible to reach right now. If we don't dream of something, you know, if we do not have our own utopia, we will never move forward. We must dream for something. And then this friend of mine said, okay, so let's have a meeting in his magazine place with all the journalists. So there I was with this like around 30 journalists together to discuss about this concept. And finally they did one version of the magazine only about dreaming, whatever we wish for. But anyhow, one thing that I understood when I was talking to them, which was quite shocking, was that most of us are not able to dream. What we do, we follow the dreams of others. We are constantly like people giving us dreams, like sharing with us their dreams. And we follow. Are very, very, very few those that have a new dream, those that have their own vision. And then what we do, we follow. Okay. And if we look, do we follow a dream or not? A dream of happiness that comes by having a beautiful house with a nice family, with a dog in the front yard of a garden, you know. And then where we have a nice career, and then we have money to buy everything that we want. And then everything will be nice and happy. Do we believe in a material utopia in which, you know, if we have everything that we want, if things go as we want, then we will be happy? Somehow we follow that dream. I don't know exactly where it comes from, but we do. What Buddha did, he shared with us one dream, which we believe that he arrived, he reached this dream, he realized it. But then he shared with us, which is the dream, the utopia of being in peace with oneself and others through an inner process of development. As Rinpoche says, inner peace is the most solid foundation for world peace, is to develop one's own inner peace in a way to be part of the world in a better way. That's a dream that he shared with us. But it's important that we must make the dream of others our own. We must dream. We must live within an utopia. Utopia means somehow something that is greater than what we are able to achieve. At least it's something that is greater than what we believe that we can achieve right now, but we still want to reach it. Some time ago I saw one interview, and then one person was saying, oh, he was telling about when he was giving a lecture, and someone made a question, what is the function of an utopia? And then the answer that he gave was, the utopia is like the horizon. The more you walk towards the horizon, the more the horizon remains far. You can walk and walk and walk and walk and walk, and the horizon is always there. You can never reach the horizon. So what's the function of utopia? Exactly that, to make us walk. Otherwise we remain where we are. You know, we are lazy by nature. We don't want to get out of our comfort zone. We don't want to develop something. You know, if I don't need, if I'm comfortable here, why should I go out? Because I have a dream, because I want something higher. And here comes the two different ways how we can live our lives. Which is one way is the simple way of survival. As my teacher used to say, as Genakpa used to say, if we live simply for survival, there is no difference between us and a cow. Because we were in India and there were many cows around. We were living in the how do you say, where there were a lot of plantations of corn. We were in the countryside. And there were many cows. Anyhow, even in the big cities there are cows in India, but still. We were in the countryside and there were many cows around, and then he was pointing to the cow and he said, look, if we live only for survival, which means if we pass our lives simply avoiding suffering and looking for pleasure, there is no difference between us and a cow. And I asked him, can you explain better? Then he said, look at a cow. When it's very hot, what does the cow do? Remain under the sun or goes to the shadow? The cow goes to the shadow, which means the cow avoids suffering. And if the cow is there eating the grass, and in one place the grass is dry and the other place the grass is green, where is the cow going to eat? The green, which means the cow looks for pleasure. You know, we are just more sophisticated. But if we pass our lives simply avoiding suffering and looking for pleasure, restaurants, food, clothes, image, pleasures, power, whatever type of pleasures, recognition of our image, you know, if we are constantly just putting our energy where our final goal is to avoid suffering and to gain pleasure, then we are just living for survival. Is it clear, this? Okay. And the other way of living is when we see our life as a mean for a higher goal. So, it can be many different ways, higher goals. I can have one higher goal which for one person may be democracy, for other one may be communism. For one it may be the higher goal is to take care of the environment. For another person the higher goal may be the development of medicine. I don't know, you know, we can have so many different higher goals. Something that transcends our own selves. Or we can have this so-called higher goal of enlightenment. But when we have a higher goal, then our life, the experiences we have, the way how we live, the choices we make, the things that we do, they are actually a mean for that goal. We work and we act with that objective, with that intention. And this makes a big, big difference. Okay? So, I believe that one of the first things that is important for us is to make clear which is our own goal. What do we want in life? What do we want this life for? Because otherwise, you know, what can happen very often is that because we don't have a higher goal, we will look for the ways how to have a comfortable life. Maybe it may include meditation and philosophy and Buddhism and all of that, and that's wonderful. But we are still using a great method for a very simple, basic objective, which is our own comfortable survival. I don't know if it's clear. Okay. It's like, I'm quite sure that for most of us, speaking very sincerely, I know that most of us will say, no, 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 it's not like that. I have my doubts. Okay. If we were given the choice, oh, look, you can have a difficult life, but that will take you more and more near to enlightenment. That will make you develop your own qualities. That will allow you to help better others. Or, the other possibility is you can give up completely Dharma. So you will have no Dharma at all, but you have no any problems, no any difficulties, an extremely comfortable, pleasurable life. No? Any problem, there will be no any problem. Any difficulty, nothing, you know. You will just have a very comfortable life, everything that you want, everything will be there, everything will be nice. So, what do we want more? A hard way to Nirvana or a comfortable samsara? It's a difficult choice. Or maybe the choice we have already, but we don't dare to say it. Okay? The point is that in which direction am I putting my own energy? For a comfortable samsara or for a hard way to Nirvana? Because there is no easy way to Nirvana, so or for a hard way to Nirvana. It's not so easy to find the answer, but we need to look for it. I'm sorry if I am so direct, but I think it's important for us to reflect upon it. What do I really want? Because in the moment that we want a comfortable samsara, a comfortable life here, we don't care so much, how to say, truly how things go, how we develop our qualities or not. What is our main goal? To be comfortable. When we go beyond that, if I am on the right path, there are difficulties, yes, but it doesn't matter so much, because they are part of the path. It's through the difficulties that we grow. So when we have a difficulty, we say, wonderful, wow. And then we will see in the next days, one of the parts of the teachings of Lojong, it's called transforming the adverse circumstances into the path. And it shows clearly that for a good practitioner, when things are going well, that's good. When things are going bad, that's wonderful. You know? Because every opportunity, every situation is an opportunity for one's own spiritual growth. And one of the important aspects here, let me see how to put it, is that when we have a higher goal in life, we do not fear so much suffering. It is said that the Bodhisattva is compared to a peacock. It's put in the metaphor of a peacock. Because the peacock, at least that's what it says in the teachings, I never saw it, but I think it's like that. That a peacock eats the snakes, poisonous snakes.
And the more poisonous snakes the peacock eats, the more beautiful its feathers become. So the peacock would choose to go to a place full of poison instead to go to a place full of beautiful, nice fruits. He preferred the poisons because he's able to transform the poisons into beauty. And it's also said that the peacock, he really gets excited by the sound of the thunder. So this metaphor is used to say that a bodhisattva is someone that if he needs to choose a very comfortable, nice, comfortable life, and he can choose as a place where there is suffering and conflict and so on, he would go to the suffering and conflict. Because there is where transformation can really happen. That's where he can transform that suffering into something so beautiful. And he has no fear to deal with suffering, because he knows that that suffering can be transformed. So the Bodhisattva has no fear to go to help someone to go to a place where there is a lot of suffering, because he knows that he can help those that are there. And he will transform that situation, that condition, into the path to enlightenment. So, it's like making a more simple example. Let's say one athlete that wants to win a marathon. Okay, or it's one athlete that is going to the Olympics, whatever sport. The path to train himself is difficult. It's not pleasurable, I suppose. There's a lot of effort that needs to be done. But he does not fear the suffering that is involved on the process, because he believes very much in his goal. For him to go to the Olympics and to get the gold medal is wow. So I have my own goal, and it doesn't matter how much pain I will go through, how much difficulties there will be, I will get there. But imagine if the athlete is very much afraid of any pain, muscular pain or difficulty from the effort. And he would not even train 100 kilometers after some time, he would give up right away. So what allows him to be able to overcome the difficulties is because he really has an objective that transcends that difficulties. I don't know if it's clear. Okay. So, when we have a higher objective, we are not afraid of the difficulties that we may encounter on our path to reach that higher objective. And Atisha, our great master from the 11th century, which is somehow the father of the teachings of mind training in Tibet, in a conversation with his disciple Dromtompa, he said, "Oh my child, do not fear suffering." And then Dromtompa answered him back. He said, "Oh, but if I do not fear suffering, I will suffer more. Because by fearing suffering, I try to avoid it." And Atisha answered, "No. By fearing suffering, you suffer much, much more." If we look to ourselves, do we suffer more out of the fear of suffering, or do we suffer more out of the actual suffering? Now, to understand this, it's just we need to ask ourselves, Do we fear more of what may happen in the future? Our suffering is more connected to the future, to the present. If we divide from the both, where do we suffer more? From worries of what may happen or from what is happening in the present moment? Most of the times we fear from the future. And very often we suffer so much for the future, and when the future becomes present, it's quite okay. So we suffer much more from the fear of suffering than from the actual facts that happen. So one of the parts of the path that is important is that by having a higher goal, we overcome the fear of suffering. Because also, we know that suffering is part of the path. In the sense that whenever someone comes to me with fear of something, one of the things that I try to understand, I try to share the way that it helps me, okay? It doesn't work with everyone, but for me it works. Which is like, if I have fear of something, I first want to understand, okay, in the worst case scenario, how would it be? And very often I look at the worst case scenario and I say, it's not that bad. And I relax and deal with it. And the other thing is that when we are in fear of something, and we see that that we fear is not a possibility but is a certainty, then what's the point of fearing it? We just need to prepare ourselves to deal with it. I don't know, this doesn't work for everybody. For me it works. Because fear is directly connected with doubt. Normally we have fear, oh maybe it will be like this, maybe it will be like that. No, this is not a maybe, you are sure. For example, death. We will die. This is not a big deal, no point of having fear. We need to prepare ourselves for something that is a certainty. But what happens is that in life, is it suffering part of life or not? I would say yes. And I have my own theory. It is the following. It's like if in every moment of our lives, we are inside a certain amount of cycles. It's like a certain amount of cycles. So what happens is that this cycle involves a certain amount of suffering. And what I have seen is that, it doesn't matter how things change. For that period of time, we're going to suffer that amount. You can change the person, you can change the context, you can change the situation, and there we are suffering. So, I see that, until we are not completely free of our defilements, and we are not free from the bondage of our own karma, we will suffer. But what our experiences tells us, when we have something really strong to suffer for, do we suffer for stupid things? No. And what happens when we don't have something, a real cause for our suffering? We end up suffering for stupid things. Okay? So, the point is that, anyhow, we need to suffer. So, if we choose to suffer for something, then we will not suffer for something else, more or less, okay? So, the best is we need to suffer for something that brings us a good result. For example, is it easy to sit down and meditate? No. Is it easy to look at our own eyes and overcome our own fears and our pride and our mindfulness? No. Is it a pleasurable process? No. But better to suffer for that. then for the pimple that is here, and the person that said something that I didn't like. So somehow it's better to have useful suffering. To go through the difficulties. It's like, in Italian we use the word faticare, which means, I don't know how to say in English, to go through trouble, through difficulties, you know. In struggle. Inevitably we will struggle in life. And what is interesting is that when we are struggling with one thing, we do not struggle with the rest, mostly. So if we choose to struggle with something that at least brings a positive result later, then that's good, you know. Like when we are really busy with something that is difficult and we need to struggle with it, we don't have so much space for other stupid things. When we have nowhere to put our energy and we have nothing that we struggle with and everything is easy, then we find that we end up suffering for so many stupid things around. You know? I look around myself and very often I see what is the real problem of many people? That they have no problems. And what happens then? You know, if a person doesn't have a minimum level of spiritual or internal maturity, emotional and mental maturity, to be without problems is quite a bad thing. I explain myself better. In Italian it says, si stava meglio quando si stava peggio. You know? There's a way of saying in Italy which says, we were better when things were worse. Which means, when I have something that I truly recognize as the cause of my suffering, so I have the glass here, and I really don't like the glass being here, and I really think that the glass is making me suffering, I still have somewhere within me an hope that once I take the glass away, I will be happy. So I have something and somewhere where I put my energy because I need to eliminate the glass and the glass is making me suffering and I go on it. But what happened? If I start complaining about the glass and then you come and you take the glass away because you love me. Then I'm complaining about the table and then you fix the table. And then I'm complaining about whatever, and then suddenly, you know, everywhere where I project my suffering, everything is actually okay. No more glass in front of me, the table is fixed, whatever I project, I have all the food, I have the food that I want, the person is nice, everything is okay. But I still suffer. I'm still anxious. I still have fear. But I don't know where to project it. That is even worse. So I was better when I was worse. Because at least I had something to project my suffering on. I don't know if it's clear, this. Okay? So, if we are really instead wishing to develop oneself and we have some maturity, then this is actually something very good because it shows us that the suffering is coming from within and not from outside. Very clearly. Because our tendency, it's very simple. Whenever everything is okay, we create problems. It's incredible to see how much I say people because it's something I really put an effort not to do. But how much people complain. When everything is really good, you know. When really everything is good. And the interesting thing is when really things go bad, then there is less complaint. It's like that. You know, it looks really stupid, but it's like that. Am I wrong? If you look, people that have really strong difficulties in their life, they complain less than those that have no problems. When everything is okay, then I don't like this food, and then I don't like this, and look this there, and then that, okay, but this is not matching with that, and whatever this person was supposed to be like this to me, instead is like that, and we find so many little reasons why. And the other thing that is done a lot is like looking at other people's life and complaining about what other people is doing that have nothing to do with me. And the more I complain, the more unsatisfied I am, and the more I suffer. So, basically, suffering is part of life. Until the moment that we have anger, jealousy, pride, mindfulness, until the moment that we have ignorance. In the next days we will talk more about that part. Until the moment that we are, how to say, hostages of our own past actions, our karma, there will be difficulties, there will be suffering. So the point is not constantly to avoid suffering. The point is to use this opportunity that we have in life to develop an inner state that allows us to be without suffering. Is it clear the difference? One thing is, let's make a metaphor. I have a lot of back pain, let's say. I have pain in the back, wherever. Okay? So, or I can constantly try to look for positions where I have no pain. Then I find the position and then it's okay. So I start walking less because I get pain when I walk. I start moving less because I have more pain when I move. Because I try always to find a way how I have less pain. Or I can say, okay, it is really painful to do the exercises. But if I really do it well, after some time, I can really cure the pain that I have. So okay, let's go through it. And then we do the right exercise, even though it's painful, but we know that it will bring us to a state where we have no more pain. On a long term. I don't know if it's clear, this example. So it's better to have a short-term suffering that brings us a long-term well-being than having a short-term well-being that will actually brings us to a long-term suffering. Is it clear? So, here we have the two possible ways of living. Or we live for survival, trying to make our life as comfortable as possible, as easy as possible. Or we can live our life as a mean to reach a higher goal. That's a choice. But it is something that must happen deep within us. And I know it's difficult, because the society in which we live, that influences us very strongly, pushes us for simple, comfortable survival. That's where we are constantly being taken to. Even the word entertainment, it's actually quite terrible.
Yeah.
Because if we live, what is the most precious thing for us in our lives? We would say that is our own life, right? Our life is so precious, so important. And what is our life made of? Time. So what does it mean to entertain ourselves? To find something that helps time to pass. I think it's really good when we are overwhelmed by something and something helps us just to take our mind away from that, you know. Or you can watch a nice movie or listening to beautiful music or do whatever that helps you to relax and to go somewhere. That's one thing. The other thing is to be constantly under this need of being entertained. So, what happens is that our life just passed by, looking at the world, looking at things, being constantly entertained. You know? A little bit as the Romans used to say, pane circo. The Romans used to say the best way to control of the people is by bread and circus. Once people have bread and once people have circus, then they don't need anymore. Then you and the power can do anything you want. The question is it only bread and circus enough for me? Or bread and Facebook? No. Okay, we have, the circus is always changing, you know? We have movies, television, whatever, you know? There's always something else coming in. Or, this is not enough for me. Nothing against the circus, nothing against the bread. But do I want more? Or that's enough? Is it enough just to live in a comfortable and pleasurable way? Which is okay, it's beautiful, it's good. There's nothing wrong within it, other than the fact that we're wasting an opportunity. Or we want to use our potential for something more meaningful. I would normally say that the answer is quite obvious. But the difficulty I truly find is that in the times that we live, the obvious answer is, I just want to live a comfortable life. I don't know if I'm wrong. I would like to be wrong. But that's what it appears to me. So, to live a life with meaning, it seems somehow as something of a fool. To believe in a utopia, it's seen as something of a fool. How can you believe in something that cannot be achieved? How can you dedicate your life for something that is beyond your needs and you need to go to struggle for it and all of that for something you cannot even see the result yourselves? Isn't it better just to take your energy just for your own pleasures and well-being? Then here, the answer comes in a quite simple way. If we put together two people, a person that is successful in having a comfortable life, and a person that is successful into following a higher meaning in life. And then you see which one of the two are more satisfied, more balanced, more happy. From what I have seen up to now, whenever we have someone that is successful into having a comfortable life, how to say, is even like the person, once is able to have a comfortable life, must prove to oneself that it works when he knows that it doesn't. So he's showing to the world how beautiful, how wonderful, how happy I am. when deep inside there is insatisfaction, anxiety, fears, and really it's not so much. There is a void, there is a big empty space that doesn't know how to fill it up. It's like one time, a friend came to talk to me, and he was telling me, he said, look, I am extremely rich. And maybe he's one of the most rich persons I ever met. Okay. Said, I have a beautiful wife and kids. I really love them. I am a very powerful person. A lot of influence. But I wake up in the middle of the night with anxiety. And I don't know really why, because everything is okay, everything is nice. I think, you know, I cannot complain about anything. But still, I feel a big emptiness inside. So what happens that if we take, for example, those that were successful into having this comfortable life, what is the tendency most of the time is to fill up this emptiness by inducing oneself in pleasures. Pleasure, power, and so on. So we can look, this is what is happening, what happens with sex, this is what happens with food, this is what happens with all sorts of pleasures, and always need to be more and more and more and more. Because I always need something stronger to fill up that hole. This is what we see. And then on the other side, we look at someone that have a simple life, that struggles maybe to pay the bills in the end of the month, but that has a higher meaning. And it's successful in its own path to this higher meaning. Most of the times these people, they have a level of stability, of well-being, that we cannot find in others. Like in the Guru Puja, there is one verse which says, like the childish act only for one's own benefit, while the capable ones, the Buddhas, act only for the benefit of others. By seeing the benefits of one and the faults of others, may I be able to exchange myself with others. So, basically, it's very simple. We work most of the times by reference, by example. So, let's put in front of us those that have a higher goal and are successful into following that higher goal, and those that just want to have a nice, comfortable life and are successful into that. And then we see what's the result of each one. What I have seen is that once someone have a higher goal and is really able to go through it, there is a very inner sensation of satisfaction. There are difficulties, no doubt, but there is this inner sensation of satisfaction, of well-being, of purpose in life. And this is something that is extremely important. If we have no purpose in life, then after some time we enter into depression, we are tired, we have because life is just for itself, and then after some point we have experiences all its pleasures, we have gone through so many things, and then now what? So, how do we have a higher goal? How can we gain a higher goal? And we need to follow the process of publicity. We need to do some positive marketing here for us. Because if we do not believe in such higher goal, and we do not know its qualities, we will never wish for it and we will never put our energy into it. So, let's try to see a little bit of it. We go back to the first example that we gave today. So, something that is in balance. And we have two main forces in our lives, which is our own body and the environment that surrounds us. People, situations, and so on. Do we have control over that? How much control we have over our body? Some. But as Lama Ganchen used to say, our body is our worst friend. Because the more we give to it, it always gradually it comes against us, you know. As we get older and older, the more we take care and the more it will somehow go against us. You know? So, we do, but finally, you know, it degenerates. But sure, we can take care of what we eat, how we eat, well, how we use the body and which environment we are, and all of this we can take care of the body. We cannot be completely dependent that it will always be okay. On the other side, the conditions around us, how much can we trust them? The environment in which we live, the situations that are around us, how much can we assure ourselves that these are always going to be balanced and okay and beautiful? It's difficult, right? So, where do we really have control? Where can we really do something that can actually make the difference? By changing the position. We will still try to get a good health and balanced body. We'll still put effort to having good conditions. But the most important thing is to have a mind that can shift the position so that we can keep balance in life. Because once we have a healthy mind, you know, it doesn't matter if the body is not so healthy, we still can be well. Once we have a healthy mind, it doesn't matter if the external conditions are not so good, we will find a solution and we will find a way to be well. If we have an unhealthy mind, our body can be perfect, we will suffer. We can have wonderful conditions, we will suffer like hell. So, sure, external conditions are important, but most of all, we must have a really healthy mind. But here we have a problem. What is a healthy mind? A healthy mind is a mind that is able to keep its own balance, which means it's not entering into the extremes of euphorism, of euphoria, and of very strong suffering. So it's able to keep its own balance, independently of the conditions. So a healthy state of mind, if things go well, it's good. But it's not losing control. Wonderful. And when things go bad, okay, let's find a solution. A healthy mind it's always open for solutions. A healthy mind is never stuck into the problem. A healthy mind relates to reality in a consistent way. In a coherent manner. Which means a healthy mind relates to impermanent phenomena as being impermanent. Relate to reality in a way that things flow well. A healthy mind doesn't put itself in a position of being the victim, A healthy mind is not in the state of attacking others or defending from others. Because one is just well with oneself and then interact with others without having the need to defend or the need to attack. A healthy mind is by nature satisfied, but still having higher goals and aspirations. I don't know if it's clear, this aspect. It's fulfilled as being satisfied, but it still wishes for more. Not for more in the sense of possessing more, more in the sense of using one's own conditions, one's own possibilities to do more for others. A healthy mind is in harmony with the environment and in harmony with others. A healthy mind doesn't have fear. Doesn't live in fear. Doesn't live in doubt. So the question is, do we want to have a healthy mind? Really? Because if we really want, then we need to go for it. And it's a bit expensive, you know. It's actually very expensive. It takes a lot of energy. Mainly because now our mind is in the unbalance, it's in the other side. So to bring it back, it's interesting. It's like if you take, for example, Rinpoche, and if you say someone that has a balanced mind, then you say, oh, it's easy to have a balanced mind. Its name is spontaneous, sure, because you already have one. When the mind is already in balance, then it will naturally make the energy to continue in balance. But for those that are completely unbalanced, we need to put so much effort on the other side. And that's the situation for most of us. So, is it easy to get a healthy mind? No. Will it take a lot of effort, a lot of energy, a lot of time, a lot of difficulties in order to get there? Sure. Are we willing for it? Yes. So we need to train our mind to have a healthy mind. That's what is one of the meanings of Lojong. Lo means mind, Jong means training. To train ourselves to have a healthy mind. Because our mind works on the basis of familiarization, of habits. So the only way really to bring our mind to a certain state is inducing ourselves to that state again and again, so that gradually it becomes natural and spontaneous. But the beginning, and it's extremely important, this beginning, is to ask ourselves, do I want to have a healthy mind? How important is that for me? Is more important for me to have a good career in my job, or to have a healthy mind? It's a question. Is more important to make more money, or to have a healthier mind? I can do both together, most probably. Or not. It depends for each one of us. But the question is, which is my priority? I'm not saying that we cannot put both together. The question is, which is my priority? Is it my priority to have a healthy mind? Because by having a healthy mind, I can deal with those situations. Or is it my priority to create a comfortable life? No. It depends on each one of us. If our priority is to create a comfortable life, then okay, then follow on. Don't come to me to complain after some time. It's like one time, I was in a situation, I don't need to go into details right now. And it was a difficult situation, but I was a bit stubborn, and I said I want to remain into it until it's like not really finished, you know. And then Rinpoche said to me, okay, you are free to do as you wish. It was like many years ago. He said, you are free to do as you wish. But if you remain in this situation, most probably you will get very sick. So don't come tomorrow to me to ask me to help cure your sickness. You know? Okay, then. You think, okay, then I follow the other way. So, if we just want to have a comfortable life, okay, as long as you want it, you go for it. If we want to have a higher goal, for example, of having a healthy mind, which is a different word to say mind of higher realizations or developing bodhicitta and finally reaching the state of enlightenment, we can call it in many different ways. But in our modern society, maybe if we call to have a healthy mind, it's interesting, if we say, to develop a bodhicitta and to develop the state of liberation from samsara, that's too far, impossible, To have a healthy mind, that's more possible. We're talking about the same. Just use different words for it. So the question is, do I want to have a healthy mind? If I really want, then let's go for it. Let's do what is necessary, but it must be our main priority in life. Not just something as an idealistic priority. I am Buddhist, so yes, the Lama said I have a healthy mind, so yes, I want to have a healthy mind. But truly what I want is a comfortable life. Where I put my actions daily is just to have a comfortable life. Then, ideally, yes, I want to have a healthy mind. No, it must truly be our own priority. As Shantideva says in the Bodhisattva Charyavatara, is one part in which he asks, he says, what is more important for you? Your own peace of mind, your own inner peace, or what other people think of you? And what will be our rhetorical answer? Inner peace. And then he asks again, and he says, then why do you lose your inner peace when other people talk badly about you? Why do you give up your own inner peace when people talk badly about you? It means that you give more importance to what other people think than to your own inner state of peace. So it's a matter of priority. If my own inner state of well-being, my own inner state of peace is my own priority, it doesn't matter what happens, I'm not going to allow it to take away my own stability. Yes, I don't like so much, but it's not that important. So, if we are able to put truly our priority to develop a healthy mind, then we can go and start to go into the methods. How do we do? Then we can understand what are the unhealthy aspects of our mind, what are the healthy aspects of the mind, how can we develop the healthy, how can we abandon the unhealthy habits, because our mind is made of habits also. So how can we abandon the negative habits, the unhealthy habits, and how can we develop a more healthy habits in our mind? Then there is a long path to go. But this path will only work if this is our priority. Otherwise, on the first difficulty we give up. Otherwise, until it's comfortable, we do. In a moment that is not comfortable, we give up. Like Milarepa said. He said, to go to a cave to meditate without having a correct path to meditate upon, without having the correct instructions to meditate upon, is just more suffering to yourself. Because which means that going to the cave and staying there meditating for a long time, as Milarepa did, was not easy. But when it is part of a process that brings a much higher goal, then a short-term difficulty that brings a long-term well-being, welcome. This is just to say that it's very clear that it was not something necessarily easy. So, all of this is actually possible because our mind has a very particular quality. Our mind is flexible. Our mind is constantly adapting to its own actions and to its own environment. Our mind is, how to say in English, it's malleable. It's something that it's in constant transformation. And the interesting thing is that we may ask ourselves, how much freedom do we have in this transformation? Truly. No? In the words we say, in the choices that we make, in the way how we act and react into situations, how much freedom do we truly have? It's like when we see someone else and we say, oh, if I was in him, I would do differently. And then if I ask you, okay, if you were in his place, with his body, with his karma, with his mentality, with his education, with his traumas, really being him, how different would you do? Not so different, I suppose. Are we influenced by our past or not? The choice, when we are in the present, the way how we experience reality, the way how we judge reality, the way how we relate to the world and to reality, how much are we influenced by our past? Completely. So are we free from what we have done in our past or not? That's what it means to say when we are bound, we're very tightly bound by karma, which means by our previous actions. So, can we develop suddenly a quality that we have not gradually developed? Can we gain something that we have not created the causes to gain? No. So how much can we truly change? Very little. I'm sorry to say. But this little makes a big difference. Because, for example, it happens, I think, to all of us, that we are doing something or talking to a person or whatever, and suddenly comes one thought to our mind that we know is not a very good thought. Can we choose to follow it or not follow it? Yes. Can we choose which word we say? Can we choose, oh, I say this, or I close my mouth? When it comes a moment of envy or jealousy, can we choose to manifest it or not to manifest it? We can. Some people more, some people less, but we can. Up to a certain level, we can. When we are in front of a situation, can we make choices? I go or I don't go, or I do or I don't do? Yes. And this means a lot. Because every small action we do, it interacts with the rest. And then one small action, it actually brings change to many other things. Because we live in a complete interdependent reality, where everything is connected. And every time that if we are able to react differently one time, then this will influence us to react differently in other things. This doesn't mean that everything will be changed at once, but it's possible. So, what is the practice of Lojong about? Is to act in a way that brings us to a healthier state of mind. So we will act, we will learn how to act in a healthy way, which is not so easy, but we induce ourselves artificially to act in a healthy way, to think in a healthy way, until this healthy way becomes natural and spontaneous. Because that's how our mind works. As Shantideva also said, there is nothing that is not easy once we get used to it. So by repeating the same thing again and again and again and again, gradually it becomes natural and gradually it becomes easy and it flows spontaneously. But these teachings that we will look through these days of the mind training, they have a very particular aspect, which is that for centuries they were kept secret. Because they're very simple, they're very easy. But they are extremely powerful with one condition. They need like one ingredient to be powerful, otherwise they are nothing. And the ingredient necessary for these teachings to be really, really powerful, otherwise they lose completely all their strength, is the total determination to put them into practice. Because it's not a method that is conceptually difficult. There's one part which is slightly difficult, but it's not that difficult. But most of it is quite simple. It's easy to understand. We will see during these next days. We will go through two texts mainly, which is called the 8 Verses of Mind Transformation and the 7 Points Mind Transformation. And we'll see that it's quite simple. But it only works if there is the total determination to put it into practice, if it's used. If we do not use the teachings, if we do not apply the methods, then it remains there. It's like how difficult it is to do, I don't know, the Surya Namaskar in yoga, how to say that in English, the salutation to the sun. No? It's one of the basic exercises of yoga. It's actually very simple. But what's the point of knowing it if you don't do it? We can know it and we can learn it by, oh, that's very simple. Okay, then do it. Then you will see the benefit. But it will only work if you do it. Knowing it will not be of much benefit. Similar to that, the practice of Lojong, it's very simple actually. But it will only be of benefit once it's put into practice, once it's used as a tool. Okay. So, what I wanted today mainly to reach is this strong wish to say, I want to have a healthy mind. And we need to think more about what does it mean to have a healthy mind. Just try to imagine for an instant, how beautiful would it be if we were satisfied that whenever we are in a difficult situation, we look for the solution and we get never trapped into the problem. Imagine that we don't feel threatened by others, but instead we feel connected to them. We are able to see others, to open our hearts towards them easily. Imagine how beautiful it will be in the moment that when we look to reality, we see its flow of interdependence and we can see things flowing and we never make the questions to ourselves, but why? It's like we can understand the flow of reality and we feel connected with everything and everyone. We feel there is meaning, there is this deep sense of satisfaction that is not material satisfaction, it's like a deeper state of satisfaction, in a state of balance and joy. Do we want it or not? Because it's really, really important. We need to go again and again to see the qualities and to see the possibilities and say, oh, if I would have a healthy mind, then I would solve the problem with my mother. If I would have a healthy mind, then I would not fight anymore in my job. If I would have a healthy mind, I would not struggle so much with my health and my physical appearance. If I had a healthy mind, I would find solutions for the difficulties, financial problems I have. These are just some examples. So, actually having a healthy mind is like a sort of panacea, then it solves everything. A person with a healthy mind will have no problem in the job, will have no difficulty in the relationships, will have no issues in the family. And if we look in our world, what is creating the problems? For instance, environment. What is destroying environment? Unhealthy mind. Greed. Ignorance. Selfishness. What destroys our environment is not the need, but the wants. If we look to every conflict in this world, look at the wars, social conflicts. Try to find one conflict that does not start in an unhealthy mind. That doesn't come from the mind. No? This world, if it was not for our own insatisfaction and attachment and greed and anger and violence and so on, nature by itself, is there enough for all of us or not? It's a paradise, right? It's not type of paradise, it is an actual paradise. The problem is that we are not paradise beings. So, it's like, let's take for example a pure land. Or imagine a paradise, okay? Imagine the most beautiful paradise that you can imagine. Now we take the whole population of our town and we go there. What happened to paradise? It will have the same dynamics of where we are. And very soon we will destroy the paradise, out of greed, out of attachment, and so on. So what makes the paradise is those that live within it. It's the mind. Otherwise we can destroy everything that is beautiful out of an unhealthy, unbalanced state of mind. So, if we look clearly, we will see that every conflict, starting from the small conflicts up to the international big conflicts, start in the mind. So where should we look for solution? In the mind. So making priority of our own life, developing a healthy mind. That's, for me, one of the most important things. And remembering that a healthy mind is also a mind that loves naturally. It's a mind that sees no difference between others and oneself. A healthy mind doesn't have the sensation of guilt. So, it's actually a very wonderful state, which incredibly we can reach. It's not something that is only in the books or somewhere. It is possible. Immediately? No. Does it take time? Long time. Buddha described that to reach the final state of inner health, it would take 3 eons. Which is like a long, 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 long time. And someone may tell me, oh, but if to reach such a higher state of being, if to reach such a state of mental health, it takes so long time. That's too difficult for me. Then what choice do you have? To continue in such long time in an unhealthy way. In Tibetan it says, Ya lama goda madena kubda. If you stand up, you hit your head. If you bow down, you hit your bump. No choice. So, as we said before, it's like, what is better? To put effort to become healthy, even though it's difficult, to struggle to be healthy, or to relax in an unhealthy way. Making an example. Is it difficult to follow a correct diet?
Yes.
Yes. Is it easy to follow a bad diet? Is it easy to eat the things that are harming us? Why? Why is it easy to eat the things that harm us? Because our body is unbalanced. So we will spontaneously do the things that are harming us, that are making that unbalance stronger. But the result of eating in the wrong way, is it easy to deal with, or is it difficult? It's difficult. So if we put on the scale, what takes more energy? To eat correctly or to deal with the results of eating badly? What takes more energy? Actually, to deal with the results. So it's actually less energy to eat correctly, and it's less suffering to eat correctly than to eat whatever comes spontaneously to us and then finally have all the health problems connected to it. I don't know if it's clear, this example.
Yeah, but you have the long-term benefits and the short-term benefits.
Sure.
Let's say that makes it that some people say it's more difficult to follow the healthy.
No, it's much more difficult to follow long-term.
Yeah.
There's no doubt.
Yeah.
Because most of us, we're not able to have long-term view.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, if after some time I saw people for example, saying, I prefer to enjoy my cigarette, because anyhow I will die somehow. So what happens is that, but if we start looking in a long term, and we start thinking about all the consequences, then we can put the things together. If we do not open our mind to see in the long term, then we will not act in the long term. No? That's why we need to train ourselves to think long term, to look at the possibilities, to look at the results, to see, okay, in the past doing this happened that, so in the future I need to be careful to do this in order to get that. And one of the things that, just to conclude this part, but which makes actually even more difficult for us, but somehow, sometimes to see the difficulty helps us to understand better and then to overcome it. That in the times that we live, we have very little contact with the process of cause, conditions and result. We want everything immediate. And for example, when we were more in touch with nature, you want to eat something, you plant it. You want to eat meat, you raise the animal. You know, if you want to eat salad, you plant the salad. You protect it from the cold. You go there, you put water every day. Then one day you take that salad. Wow, so much energy was put into it, no? Nowadays, where is the water coming from? From the tap. Where are the fruits coming from? The fridge. But we don't even, maybe even don't get the connection to the supermarket, not even, you know, it's from the fridge because someone is buying and putting them there. Then there are those that need to go to the supermarket, where the fruits come from, the supermarket. And we don't connect with the whole chain. We don't connect to the whole process. And everything must be immediate. But if we look to life, tell me something that is immediate. Everything is based on planting a seed, allowing it to grow, and then having a result. Everything. So when we are able to see better the process of cause, condition, result, then we also see our actions will bring long-term results. But more and more, I don't know, for whatever reason in our society, more and more we want things to be immediate. Everything is for yesterday. Everything needs to be done fast. Everything needs to be done immediate. And we lose the connection between action and result. And by that we lose the connection between short-term choices and long-term results. And this is one of the difficulties of Dharma, because when we look into our spiritual path, we are talking about long-term. Where we need to make short-term choices in order to gain long-term results. And not always these short-term choices are the most pleasurable and easy. Okay? So, just to conclude. The most powerful tool we have in our life is our own mind. It's through our mind that we see everything, that we relate with everything, that we do anything. If we are sad, then everything is bad. If we are happy, then everything is somehow okay. You know, it's like we experience reality through ourselves, through our mind. So we started today saying that external conditions are important, which is true. But the mind is much more powerful than all of that put together. We can be in the best of the conditions. If our mind is not well, it will be very difficult. And we can be in the worst of the situations. If our mind is good, it will be somehow okay. So, here comes a very simple question. If the mind is so important, how much energy shall we put to keep it healthy? For to keep our body healthy, it depends on what we eat, it depends on how we use it, the exercises that we do or not, and so on. The same is for our mind. The way we use our mind will determine the way that our mind becomes. The more I complain, the more I will complain. The more I am grateful, the more grateful I will be. The more I am distracted, more distracted I will be. The more I'm able to concentrate myself, more I will be able to concentrate myself. Now when people ask me, oh, but what is how to develop concentration? By concentrating. Which other way is there? I don't know. Sure, there are many methods in between, but finally it's that. How to develop love? By loving. And there are many methods in between, but finally it's that. The more we act in a way, the more that will be natural and spontaneous within ourselves. So, in these next days, we will go through the Lojong, and I want to go through actually two main texts, which is called the 8 verses of mind training, which is to train ourselves from a selfish attitude to an altruistic attitude. And the other is called the 7 points mind training. Okay? And we will give some effort into that. And I was thinking this morning while coming down, I was thinking, okay, but we will look at the 7 points mind training, but I want to do something which is little uncommon. When after finishing the 8 verses, I want to start the 7 points mind training from the last, not from the end and not from the beginning. Because whenever I do these teachings, when I arrive at the last 2 points, we always never have time for it. And we always need to hurry, and they are very important actually. So I just want to give more emphasis on the 2 last points, which are the commitments and the vows. And then we will also look at the rest, but I want to give more emphasis on that. And I know myself, I say, okay, I will give more emphasis later, then finally I get taken by the other parts and then we don't reach. So we will have an overview, then we'll give emphasis to the last part, then we'll give emphasis to the rest. Anyhow, it's a very special opportunity because in our own lives we are constantly busy with our daily survival. That's part of our lives. So to take some days of our lives to dedicate, to learn and to practice is something that helps us to have a higher meaning, to develop a healthier mind, to connect ourselves to our own potential. That's something very, very, very important. Okay, so I'm very grateful to everyone this year that we have this opportunity. Okay. And so we'll conclude here for today. And then tomorrow we will start with the actual text. Okay? And just try between today, tomorrow, and after also, but especially these 2 days, just try to reflect upon, do I want a healthy mind or not? How much is that truly important for me? How much is that a real priority or not for myself? Okay? Jetsun lame kutsera tenchi lankar tille chokyu gepada losan tempe drome sasungi drove musel tatu nevyurachi animo dele sendele nime kuyan dele shin Nitsen tatu delepe, koncho sungi jingiro, koncho sungi modrutso, koncho sungi trashisho. At dawn or dusk, at night or midday, may the 3 jewels grant us their blessings. May they help us to achieve all realizations and sprinkle the path for our lives with various signs of auspiciousness. All'alba o al tramonto, di notte durante il giorno, possano i 3 gioielli concederci le loro benedizioni, possano aiutarci ad ottenere tutte le realizzazioni e cospargersi in giro della nostra vita con molti segni di buon auspicio. Om Tambalame, Sangye Rinpoche, Gyalbalame, Tamche Rinpoche, Trimbalame, Gembo Rinpoche, Kyamne Ucho Sumla Chöpa. Buon appetito.